Hey there guys, we're going to be going back to Clash of Wills the Crumblier, and I'm going to be showing you an even more extreme, cheesy way to get a rank 1 perfect score. Now before we get into this, I'm going to show you an issue report from the in-game news. So people are mostly aware at this point of that you can raise the boss to OTK him. That wasn't intended, but you know, they're leaving it in. The more severe thing is you can make the boss just sit there and do nothing for the entirety of the fight. And if you read the second paragraph here, there's also a related issue where the boss is not KO'd, but his AI doesn't function properly. These behaviors are not intended, but they're not going to take any actions. They're basically saying, you know, it's our mistake. Go forth and do what you want to the boss. There's no penalty. There's no, there's not going to be any, pushback or anything, because other people are using this. It's pretty much a bug. That's all it is. It's a glitch. It's a glitch in the game, and other people are using it to get rank 1. And Gumi is saying, we don't mind. Do what you want. Whatever. This Clash of Wills is kind of a wash. We'll do better next time. But because of that, and in the interest of fairness, I'm going to go ahead and show how to do that and how to lock the boss where he doesn't fight back. It is definitely a bug, and I would never make a video about how to exploit a bug in the game unless Gumi just says it's okay, and they strictly said in the news it's okay to use this bug. So that is the only reason I am going to make this video. Also to make it more fair, because a lot of people are using this to get rank 1. So let's get in here, and I'm going to show you a real cheap way to get rank 1 doing this. Now that being said, it's not a free rank 1. You still have to deal 2.5 billion damage, which is a lot of freaking damage, and the boss is very, very bulky. Now if you have things like, Chizuru, Lilith, Olive, it's not that hard to do. But we're going to go with a kind of sort of budget team, and we're going to be using things like, Titus and Golbez and Sky to get our rank 1 team. This is going to be a relatively tight damage check. With this, we might even need to rely on variance. But let's get in here and do the clear. The more important thing about this video is to show you how to lock the boss's AI. That way you have, 10 turns to do whatever you want to have fun. So we turned on all modifiers. So here's the ambush where the boss is going to charm us. If you're immune, great. If you're not immune, like most of our team is not immune in order to try to keep it kind of budget, we're just going to use Roberta, who is immune, from gear. I gave her Locks TMR. We're going to use her to Dragon's Blood. That dispels our own party. And then we'll just fill morale and, hit the boss, whatever. Now the charm is gone. So this is how you prevent the boss from doing anything and ever fighting back, and make him just lock his AI and stand there for the whole fight. So we are going to get ready to raise the boss. We're getting this from Kresnik on the Phoenix Esper. So we're going to cast raise, we're going to select target, we're going to target the boss. We're not going to use it yet. You need to, okay, so you know how you cap like a finishing move? We're going to treat raise like a finishing move and cap the raise. So we're going to use Golbez to just build a chain with just triple bolt and strike. You can do it with anyone. We're just going to do it with Sky and Golbez just because. So we're gonna chain these bolting strikers, and we're gonna cap that chain with the raise spells. We're gonna start the bolting strikers, then cast raise, and raise is going to cap the chain, and that breaks the boss. If you just cast raise, the boss dies. If you cap raise like a finishing move, it freezes the boss in time. For the rest of the fight, he is never going to do anything except sit there. We now have 10 turns to set up at our leisure. We don't got to worry about defenses. We don't got to worry about a tank. We don't got to worry about mitigation, resistances, nothing. This is why it makes it so easy to cap the boss, assuming you can deal the damage. The boss does still have like 400,000 defense and spirit, high resistances. It's still hard to cap the boss, but you no longer need to waste any slots on defenses, mitigations, tanks, resistances, which makes it easier. Now for the rest of the party, we'll just start building morale. You still got to build 30,000 morale for the score. So we're going to just use Nicole to imbue and double flood. We'll just use Titus to do Calamity Border because, resistance buffs give morale gain. And we will use morale. Now, I will say, even though, now watch the boss. The boss's turn, he's going to stand there. And that's it. Yeah, the entire fight. He's never going to do anything. The boss is broken. We broke the boss. Gumi said it's okay. The only reason I'm doing this. So yeah, the boss is never going to do anything. So we just build morale for. We're going to build morale for like 8 turns and then kill the boss. So we're going to stimulant. We'll just have Golbez, cast a water spell. We're going to start stacking up Sky. She's full glass cannon. Who cares? We're going to stack her up. We have Roberta just do morale fill and hit the boss twice. And we'll just Calamity Border and flood again with Nicole. So yeah, the boss is going to stand there. So we're going to start just spend like 5 turns building morale, and the boss does still have his buffs. They're going to slowly wear off over time. Now I will mention, you see these morale skills on the morale bar. So we have our skills that we can use, like the attack and magic buff, but the boss's skills like Motionless Despair, if you're not filling morale quick enough, these get auto-casted, so these will still be cast. So if by turn 4 you didn't fill the morale past the 160% point, the boss will cast Stop on your party. So have a plan for that, or like we're doing, we filled morale quickly enough, he's not going to cast Stop. But there we go. We're going to bring Sky back to the base form so that she can get her LB auto-refilled. Kresnik will cast Antioxidant, because that auto-cast resist buff every turn. And the rest of these guys can just, use whatever, use a water attack, use whatever, just to get some morale gain. So we're going to be doing this for the next few turns. The morale gauge is slowly filling up, so you don't need, Sylvie and all that to get this going. We're back in the base form with Kresnik, so we're going to start having him, and I'll go ahead and put a turn chart in the comments for this as well. So we'll go ahead and just Potion, Remedy, Supplement, just, for more morale gain. We'll put Sky back to the shift form to continue to stack her. And then we'll just, whatever. We have Roberta fill morale, Golbez hit with water, Titus, Calamity Border, etc. And we're just waiting. So we're gonna change our actions a little bit on turn 6. We're again still just hanging out. Sky back to the base where her LB refills. Rest of these guys can just reload it up. Go ahead and just use all your skills again. And starting on turn 6, we're gonna start setting up for our burst. We're gonna burst on turn 9. Because if you do, like, let's say 2.6 burst, the boss won't actually die. Because you need to do 2.9 to kill him. So we're going to save 1 extra turn so you can just raise him on turn 10 in case the boss is still standing there. So on turn 6, we're going to start getting ready. We're going to shift Nicole, and we're going to do his field. Now it is crowned to +2. We're going to have Sky go to the shift form and do her final stack. We're going to have Golbez cast Jet Black Curse. That's going to be our 88 breaks for this fight. We're going to have Titus cast You're Going Down. That's a modifier buff for himself. Roberta is going to do Morale. We're going to do her Magnus ability, and then just hit the boss again. And Kresnik can just reload and use his Morale skill just to keep filling that Morale gauge, because you got to gain 30,000 Morale behind the scenes to get a perfect score. And that does still, count for this. Okay, so we're going to go to the base form with Titus. We're going to use his LB. That's going to preemptively put up the Sword in Peril, so we don't got to worry about, timing as badly on the kill turn. Golbez will go ahead and Magic Boost. Now we're going to keep Sky in the shift form this turn. There's a reason for that, just trust me. We're going to have Sky use her Magnus just to whatever. We're going to stay in the shift form for this turn. We're going to go back to the base form with Roberta and do her LB. We're going to have Nicole do Imbue. We're going to flood the boss. And then we're going to do his 100% stat ramping amplify on Golbez, who's going to be our big damage dealer of this fight. And then Kresnik can just, reload here. Okay. And again, the boss just stands there. He's like, I don't mind, bro. Set up for as long as you want, as safely as you want. It is okay. So we're going to have Golbez go ahead and Magic Focus again. We're going to have Nicole use his Shifted LB. We're going to have Titus do This Is My Story, Ace's ability to refill his LB into a big amp and then just hit the boss. We're going to have Sky now go to the base form, because when Sky shifts, she auto-cast a Reaper Killer buff. That's going to give her a Reaper Killer, because no one else has Reaper on the party. And then Titus is in the base form. Roberta can do Rousing. We're going to do Stone Killer. And then we're going to do Mega Breath to get Quad Cast unlocked. And then Kresnik, once again, can just do his thing. And we're going to burst on turn 9. If we kill the boss, wonderful. If we do 2.5 but don't actually finish him, totally fine. That's why we're saving turn 10 to have an extra turn to finish him off with just the raise spell. Okay, it is time to burst. So the first thing we're going to do is use the morale bar to attack and magic buff. Sky is going to shift and do her shifted LB. Golbez is going to meteor. You can see up here the boss now has a 40% sword in peril, a 88 defense and spirit break, and he's at effectively negative 100 water resist, which is all our debuffs. So we're going to go ahead and meteor. And also you can notice Sky, she's got 450 stone and 450 reaper because we did the shifting exactly the order like I did it. And then we're going to go ahead and quad mystic with Roberta. Titus is going to use his LB. Kresnik is going to blue wave along with Nicole to, that's not blue wave, blue wave along with Nicole to, make sure you cast the right skill. I almost casted Flood or Violent Current. Make sure you're casting blue wave, the right spell. Okay, so here's the tricky part. The timing is a headache. I hate Titus because he's a headache to chain properly. Practice on the training dummy, but the way we're going to do it, we're going to send Titus first. We're going to wait a moment. Then we're going to send Golbez. We're going to wait a moment. Then we're going to chain Nicole and Kresnik together, which are going to match up to Titus's exceptionally longly delayed chaining frames. Then we're going to go ahead and send Roberta and Sky, and Roberta will make Sky cap nice and easily. So let's go ahead and do our chaining. So here we go, Golbez, the blue waivers, the other guys, and we're going to look for a 149-point chain, assuming we did it properly, and we're looking for 2.5 billion damage or better. Okay, we did kill the boss right there, which means I know we guaranteed did 2.5. We did 2.9. And again, if you do 2.5 but the boss doesn't die, he's still going to sit there. He's still not going to do anything, and he'll just wait. Just go ahead and cast Raise on him again with Kresnik, and you'll win. Now, or you can just finish him off. He'll probably be at like 5%. Just chain on him again. But to guarantee kill him, go ahead and finish him off. So here's our damage. We only did one burst, which I really like because by only doing one burst, it allows you to see a proper breakdown. Normally on Clash of Wills, you're doing two different bursts. Like you're doing the threshold burst and then the finishing burst, and those numbers get really muddled, and you can't really realistically see who did what without calculating it behind the scenes. But by doing it this way, we actually get to see a very clean, perfect burst breakdown because no one did any meaningful damage outside of the one single burst turn. So, Golbez did 1.1 billion. That being said, he did have the single target 100 amplify. No one else had that. So that does inflate his numbers higher than usual, but still, he does do the most damage in this party anyway. Sky might have honestly done potentially more because she did have a Reaper buff from her own Reaper source. It's a self only. No one else had an Undead Killer buff at all. If you have Ihana's STMR, you can give it to Kresnik and use an Ihana's STMR on the turn before the burst. Give it to your highest DPS, like Golbez, or because Sky already has hers, or Titus, and there you go. Titus did 600,000, or yeah, 600 million. And the reason he's nice is he did a 40% sword in peril, which the whole party, everyone is using a sword. So that's a big weapon in peril for everyone. And he did decent damage, and Roberta does LB buff, Stone Killer, some chaining, and she did okay-ish damage. Alright, let me go ahead and show you the team and the gear. So yeah, you can really modify this party however you want. All that matters is you just cap a raise on the boss with all the modifiers turned on, and he breaks. It breaks the boss, he sits there forever, and again, I will never make a guide video on my channel on how to exploit a bug unless Gumi has expressly given permission to do so. And as you know, as we see, Gumi has said it is okay to use a bug on this boss. That is the only reason. That is the only reason I'm promoting how to cheese this boss in this way. But anyway, here's the party that we did use. You know, defenses and resistances do not matter as long as someone can cure that charm on turn 1, you're good, and we're using Roberta for that. So Nicole is dual wielding a Sylvie card. If you don't have Sylvie's card, it is now available in the card exchange shop. So use a card token. Most players should have multiple card tokens at this point. Use a card token, grab Sylvie's card. It's really good for morale, even if you don't have Sylvie. Other than that, Blue Wave, he's on Leviathan, some mana reduction, dual wielding dual wielding for Sylvia's card, shift form, same thing. He does 45 amp for the party, 100% amp single target, 135 in peril, 50 in peril field. That is all really nice. Kresnik, you got to have someone to fill the morale gauge. Kresnik does it the best. You don't have to bring him. If you're still struggling on damage, other units can fill the morale gauge, like Olive fills the morale gauge while damaging. Tsukiko does a ton of morale while with her auto-casting Blessed Omamori. So you don't have to bring Kresnik. He's just the super easy, guaranteed morale score unit. And he had Blue Wave for support chaining, shift form, same thing. He's starting with the Celestite and the 3 stars. New Guardian Titus is built for, LB damage versus Stones and Reapers. As a premium, he has, a bunch of killers. It's really, really good for this. You don't have to use his STMR because we're killing it on turn 9. Therefore, we don't... His STMR buff and things like the cool Smile card won't work. That said, you can speed up your clear and kill it on turn 5 and do your burst on turn 5. And if you don't kill the boss... let's say you only do like 2.6 and the boss is still alive, you'd still have like 5 extra turns to build morale. But killing it on turn 5 is a little harder on the morale gain, but easier on damage, because then you would get things like Titus STMR's buff, Cool Smile, etc. But anyway, here's his build. Shift form is just built for some Esper fill, and Calamity Border to fill morale gauge. Roberta is in the base form, double-handing a sword because Titus is going to big in peril. There we go. She's maxed on, I think, everything. No, 275 Reaper, 300 Stone. And then shift form is just whatever. She's immune to charm from the first rate treasure hunter, and she dispels the party on turn 1, so we can then support chain and raise. By the way, as far as the raise spell goes, Kresnik, you cannot use enhanced skills. So like the full life enhanced will not work. You got to use the actual raise spell. Either the raise spell, which you can get from a Chocobo, or you can get the raise spell from Phoenix. The Phoenix Esper can be taught the raise spell. So put someone on Phoenix, and Phoenix can use raise, and you can give that to anybody you want. You can give it to like Titus or whoever. It wouldn't matter. And there you go. Anyway, so I showed you Roberta's gear. Yeah, shift form, which is immune to charm, so you can dispel the party. Golbez, jet black curse armor or whatever, so you can do his 88 breaks. Other than that, meteor damage versus the boss. Stone Killer. I think he's maxed on everything. Dazzling Demon. He might be a little bit short. 275 to both. And yeah, he does the most damage, or I guess tied with Sky, because Sky had more killers. Sky in the base form, just kind of whatever. Titus' Spirit, a little bit of Esperfill, her TMR. Shift form, 9400 attack. Sword build, again, swords, because 40% in peril. It's kind of a big deal. And then shift form is maxed on everything. She gears to the super easy. Maxed LB, maxed Stone, maxed Reaper. There's the build. There's the setup. Esther's card. And that's about as cheap as you can realistically get for a rank 1 clear. Because, you still got to fill the morale gauge. And we're not using anything like, Chizuru, Beach Blaster Olive, Lilith, Esther, all that kind of stuff. All of those units will make this even easier to damage cap, because you can completely ignore defenses. It's a total free win. And even if you can't damage cap, you can use this to just get a higher score than you currently have if you're using things like, 3 party slots for mitigators and all that to survive. Make a chain, cap the chain with raise with the modifiers turned on. The boss breaks. Gumi said it's okay. Have fun. See you next time.